This is Kadsis. Welcome back to the channel for another FreeCAD tutorial. You may have come across a situation where more than one body is needed to create a CAD model, or you need to refer a face on a previous body to generate a sketch for the next body. In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to generate datum planes and datum lines and use them to create an object in multi-body environment. First thing I'm going to create is a new model. So I'm in the part design workbench. So I'm going to create a new one. So we have this as unnamed. That's fine. We can go with that. Now we'll create a body and then we're going to create a sketch in this body. So I'm going to start creating a sketch in XY plane. Okay. So I'm in this XY plane now. As you can see, X and Y plane, and I can create a 2D sketch. So let's start with a slot here. Doesn't matter the size of this. I'm going to escape out and drag this guy out here. We'll put some constraints around this just to be consistent with modeling practice. So let's put some constraint. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to create some quick constraints here. Okay, you can follow me as I do this. And since this tutorial will involve a second body, I want to create few circles inside this main body. Okay, so seems like I want to increase the length of this guy and maybe drag this one to the size. Okay, and then put another slot in between these two circles. I'll keep putting some more constraints on this guy. I mean, you can follow along with this. I'm not creating this to a precise set of dimensions, as you can see, but when you use your modeling, you want to create it in a precise set of dimensions. Okay, this I'm going to pick this guy, and the reason why I'm going fast is because this is not directly relevant to this topic we are going to discuss here, but since you can follow along and pick some sketcher skills as well, so that's why I'm doing this, and then putting a couple of more dimensions here. Okay, then I think I need to somehow give some relative dimension between these two, so this block will be constrained, and so it's pretty much constrained now, because how do I know? Because everything turned green, so that's what means it is fully, the body is fully constrained, or the sketch is fully constrained. Okay, now what I can do is pad this one sketch. Let's say I'll give a thickness of 1.2 inches, and now this body is you have certain thickness to it. So next thing I want to do is I want to move this body away from this XY and XE plane. Currently the body is kind of aligned with this, and I want to do that because that way this will be in a kind of a neutral zone, and that illustrates my point clearly, because when you create a a body, it could be somewhere in arbitrary space. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just going to transform this body to arbitrary location. Okay, I'm not going to give any dimensions. This is just to illustrate the point that I'm trying to make here. So let's go and close that. Now it's in an arbitrary location. Okay, so next thing is I'm trying to go and create a body that is aligned with this face. Okay, so I'm going to create the second body. So this is called body 001. And now let's see which this body is active. As you can see, how do you know that? When you look at it, there's like a white box around it. That's mean that body is active. Now what I want to do is to create a plane along this face, that the plane that is highlighted in yellow. Okay, how do I do that? So one thing I can do is let's try this one. Let's just pick on this face and see if I can create a plane. That did not work, and you might ask yourself why it did not do that. Okay, now the simple reason why it did not do that is because you are trying to create a datum plane on body 1, but the face you are picking is on main body, and that's the reason. Okay, and so how do we get around that? Now if I go and activate this guy, let's say if I activate this body and then pick on this face and then create a datum, it creates that datum without any issue, because it is actually that plane is created within this active body, and that face belongs to that body. Okay, keep that in mind, because that confuses a lot of people, that hey, why can't I create a plane or a datum plane in the second body by picking on the first one? And you can't do that in FreeCAD. Okay, now how do I get around that problem? Okay, so the simple way to get around that problem is you go and activate the body that you want to create that datum plane by double clicking that. Okay, by the way, I have a tutorial. I'm going to put a link to that tutorial where I'm talking about this active bodies, that overall tree structure of the FreeCAD, and that would be a very useful tutorial. So yeah, I'll put a link to this in this tutorial. For that video, you can go and watch it and learn more on the model tree. Okay, now getting back to the discussion we are having. So I have activated the body 1. Now there are simple thing you have to do is you have to somehow create a binder. Okay, from this body to this body there should be some kind of a binder. So the way you do that is click on that face, and this green guy, which is called the sub object shape binder, we call it sub shape binder. You click on that, and now if you expand this, you will see a binder surface created. It's more like a, when you have a multi-body model, you are creating a reference face from this body connecting to this one. I have a couple of tutorials on this binder and the shape binder, so you probably want to go and look at them. I will put a link to that as well in this in the description. Now the simplest thing to do here is to, in order to create this datum plane, just pick on this and click on this datum plane, and it will be aligned with the binder surface. Okay, now you might run into some issues, like for instance, I can show you here. Then if I activate this body, and now if I click on this surface, sometimes you will you will be picking the surface behind it, which will not work. Okay, so that's what happened. It did not pick the binder surface. So the best thing is for you to do is here, I'm going to go back here, is to deactivate this body, pick on this binder surface, then create this plane. Now in this case, there's another situation where you run into it did not pick this. It's a glitch in the Freecad. What you can do is delete this, there's no reference now, and then you put a reference by clicking on this binder surface. Okay, now that is created. Now this data plane is kind of it's not fully covering this body. I like to have it fully covering this body. It's not absolutely necessary, so what I'm going to do is to expand this guy. It has this this datum plane has its own coordinate system. I have a video that explains more on this datum planes as well. I will put a link to that tutorial. Go and watch that. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to extend it in X direction until this started extending. Okay, now it started extending it, fully covering the body. So I'm all good here, and I'm going to get out of it. This is still saying it needs recomputing, so I'm going to recompute that, and now it works. So we got a plane that is aligned with the face I wanted. Now I want to create two datum lines along this face. Okay, now I'm going to deactivate the body as well as the datum plane. Now this is the datum line. I want to create datum lines, one going vertically dividing this edge, and the other one dividing this edge, which is the datum line is going horizontally. Okay, now let's see what the best way to do that. So I'm going to pick this edge. This is just to demonstrate how to create datum planes. Okay, now you can do that once you select an edge and you click on the datum plane, it will align that datum line with respect to that edge. Okay, let's say I don't want that, so just to demonstrate. Okay, now maybe I pick this guy and pick this one. Yeah, that's another way to do it. I still don't need it. I'm gonna say delete it. Now you could do another way to do that is go here and through 2 points and pick that one, and that's another way to do that, but still this is not what I want. So I'm going to exit out of that and then delete that. Still we haven't found a datum line the way I want to create. So I'm going to go back and create the line, and then line should be somewhere here, and there are several options. Okay, now some of these options are kind of meaningless, but they appear. But there is one thing that is useful is this first principal axis, second and third. Now before you picking anything, if you just pick on this binder face, see what happens. It put the datum line right at the center going through the plane, and this is called the first principal axis. So if you know a little bit of math or vectors, you will have on a planar surface, you will have three principal axes. One is going through the plane right at the center. The other one, a plane or a principal axis dividing that plane, and then the other one is the third principal axis is dividing the plane in the other direction. Okay, so if I scroll through this, it keep moving from one principal axis to the other, and then you can scroll around and see how which direction you want. Let's say I want second principal axis, I want this line which is dividing. This is exactly what I want, so I'm going to say okay, and there's that first datum plane I created. And then same way you can create the second datum line. Okay, and this time I'm going to pick the third principal axis. I'm good with that. I'm going to say okay. Reason for this tutorial, as I mentioned earlier, is you will, when you start modeling in FreeCAD, you will run into this situation many times where you have to create datum lines, datum planes on a certain surface to expand your model. So this is going to be a very useful tutorial, I can guarantee it. Okay, now since we already have this is created, so I'm going to use this datum and create a sketch on that datum, and that's the reason why we created all this. Okay, so we're going to pick on this and then say okay, I'm going to create a sketch here. It will automatically orient that to face that sketch. Okay, now this you will see that okay, I have a slight problem here because of this body obstructing the view. What all you have to do is to go and click this edit mode switch that will kind of cut a section so that you can see through. Okay, so you can see it now. Your datum lines are fully visible. Okay, now you can start creating your next sketch. So I'm going to do here is start drawing a couple of maybe I'll start with the polyline. Let's see, I'm going to so I'm creating this kind of a arbitrary section. Let's see, I think I'm going to move this around because there are no dimensions associated with it, so I can move it approximately the size I want it. So you can put some more constraint. I'm going to put a vertical constraint here. So this is all good. This has a vertical constraint. This has vertical constraint. This has horizontal constraints already. And then I can put some dimensions as well. Let's put a dimension, let's say around this guy. As I'm going to put some constraints just to kind of give you some flavor of how you constrain these. For this tutorial it's not required, but nevertheless let's do that. Now one thing might be useful here is these two datums are not selectable right now. You cannot select them. So the way to do that is this edge linked kind of external geometry linker. Okay, so this is called the external geometry linker. You can go and pick that guy. Now it's active. maybe it's not picking it. Okay, what you need to do is key here and pick that. So now it's created a kind of a copy into the sketch. Now you can pick them. So if I want to put a constraint, all I need is to click on that. Now it is kind of a, I'm trying to align this. Now I have multiple tutorials describing these sketches. You can, watch. I mean, if you subscribe, you can see my videos, and then you can start, watching those videos. That will give you more in-depth understanding of how you do a sketch, how do you constrain it. All that good stuff is on those videos, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this tutorial. Just about enough time so that I can kind of pass along the useful information that is more pertinent to this tutorial. Okay, still it's not constrained. I can put some more stuff here, then we need to put another one here as well. So it's coming along. But maybe I'm going to stop right here. There may be a few more constraints you need it, but for this tutorial purpose, it's not really required. So I have this second sketch created. Now using this sketch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pad this guy. Now when I'm padding this, I'm going to do two-dimensional direction, so it's going to go this direction as well as this direction. I'm going to, let's say, make it 1 inch in one direction, and see whether that's maybe that's not enough. Let's do 2 inches. The reason why I want to have 2 inches, I want to be sure this body kind of covers or encapsulate the entire this body, the first body. Okay, and this guy I'm going to create, maybe I think you might need like 3 inches here. A little bit more. Okay, so that took care of that. Now one thing I need to do here is actually go back to this sketch, and I might have to expand one of these dimensions. Okay, so sorry, I need to go back to the sketch and see through. Maybe I need to give a little bit, 6.5 inches, or maybe a little bit more. I want to get it beyond this body, and the same thing on this side as well. So let's see, 5.5. I think, yeah, it's beyond this body, so that should be fine. Okay, so we got, actually it's not, so let's go back. Okay, got that. Now all I need to do is use this, which is a Boolean operation. Let me go back and show you what this is called, the Boolean operation. And I need to recompute it. So this is the Boolean operation with 2 or more bodies. So I've already picked one body. So I'm going to say, okay, pick this guy, add body. It might, yeah, so if it doesn't do first time, you can pick a different surface, and it should appear here inside this box. Now what I want is common. So So this pretty much created the bracket we want to create. Okay, now of course you can go back to your sketches, adjust few things and make it look if you want to increase the thickness here, you can go back to these sketches and do that, but pretty much this is a bracket we wanted to create. Now I can go back to this sketch and I can increase this thickness. It seems like this is way too thin, so I'm going to say 0.4. I'm going to maybe 0.24. 0.4 is too much. 0.35, and let's see, 0.35. Yeah, that should be fine. Now you can see that it is got a little bit beefier. Okay, so you can play around with this sketch to get the bracket you want. Okay, now the key concept of this tutorial is to demonstrate how to use datum planes and datum lines in multi-body modeling. How to use them effectively so that you get you will find this easier when you start building models in FreeCAD. So that's the purpose of this tutorial. Hope you learned something new. Please leave some comments, and if you like it, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.